All right, let's do this live with YouTube Gaming. Hey everyone, I'm Geoff Keighley. It is so great to have you with us. We're going to get right into this week's news, and we've got some special guests. You may have seen them in the pre-show. Ashly Burch, a versatile voice actor who's been in games and cartoons like Life is Strange, Mortal Kombat X, Fallout 4, too many to name. I know you from the Hey Ash, What You Playin' that we used to have on Game Trailers. Great to have you with us, Ash. Thanks for popping by. We've got iJustine back with us again.
Hello.
We saw your classic NES unboxing on your channel yesterday, so you're ready to play some classic NES
yes,
today?
We're ready.
Okay, fantastic. Great to have you with us, IJ. And Maddox, you're back. Last week you had the deadlock debate with Matt Pat. You had so much fun.
Yes, sir. It was blast. Yeah, very close. I went home and I watched it again. I watched the vote in real time. Super fun.
And it was literally like almost 50-50 at the end.
It was almost 50-50. He won 52-48. But I felt good about myself because Matt Pat is a force to contend with.
He is. He is the game theorist.
Yeah, he is the game theorist.
All right, well, let's get into the news, some of the big headlines this week. First up, now this is kind of a complicated story, and you guys may have seen a little bit about it, but over the past few weeks, there's been a lot of talk about the voice actors from SAG and AFTRA, which are unions for a lot of actors, the Screen Actors Guild and the American Federation of TV and Radio Artists. They went on strike against 11 video game publishers, including big players like EA, Activision, Disney, and Warner Brothers Games. There's actually a picket at Warner Brothers Games today. Now, the voice actors are fighting for what they say is fair compensation for hit games. They want residual payments like film and TV actors, sort of residuals as games continue to go on and make money. They're also looking for safety measures for actors performing motion capture stunts, shorter work sessions to prevent vocal damage, and a lot of other things. So this is a big fight. There's actually a strike right now, and we have Ashly here, who is a member of SAG, right?
I am, yes.
And I think maybe for a lot of gamers, I think we just want to know, can you explain sort of what is at stake here? What does this mean for games that you've been in or might be in?
Mm-hmm.
Can you help people explain like what's going on right now? Is this going to affect, like, are you not able to like record voices for games right now?
Yeah, so I'm on strike from all the games that I've been working on right now. We are striking against, it's a targeted strike against certain companies.
Okay.
And so any games that have started production, I think it's before February 2015, we're still okay to work on, but any new IPs coming in, I'm not allowed to work on.
Okay.
So I've been catching up on TV.
I was going to say, so this is, obviously this is part of your livelihood is doing these games. And can you tell us a bit about, actors, I think the game companies sometimes say, hey, actors are important to our games, but not necessarily always as important as maybe film or TV sometimes. Games can be very successful without actors. Obviously, we love great acting in games, and you've been in games. What is the position is that the actors feel like they're not being fairly compensated? Is that the biggest issue right now?
Well, the issue is that I'm, and some of the other people that are talking a lot about this measure, like the people on the negotiating committee, we are in a position where we're very lucky in that we've been in the industry. Like I've been extremely lucky that I've been able to book consistent work in games, and then also I supplement my income by being a writer and doing animation. But a lot of actors may book 1 or 2, maybe 3 games an entire year, and so they, the number thrown around a lot is, of course, scale is $800 for 4 hours, which sounds great, right? Like 4 hours of work, you get $800. That sounds like a lot of money. But if you're, 80 to 90% of voice actors, that happens maybe 3 times a year. And all the other times you are auditioning, you are spending money to take classes to hone your craft, and you're not making that on a daily basis, and it's not really a sustainable income for someone that wants to specialize in voice acting for games, especially. Like, voice acting for games is a passion for a lot of us. I have a friend that moved all the way from New York to Los Angeles to work on games specifically, but it's just not financially viable, especially when you consider the damage that can happen to your voice, and also the fact that there is no residual payment that sustains that work. You have to prioritize other work.
Right. I see. So that's the thing is, so people would tend to take other jobs because you can get residuals off those, and video games you can't right now, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, well, if I know that I'm going to have a commercial at the end of the week, and I'm getting booked for this video game session where I'm going to scream for 2 hours or 3 hours straight, you might not take that job, right? So there is this idea of like, people want to be able to specialize in games, especially if you love games, and games are such an amazing medium. But there's a lot that's standing in the way of that right now. And the other thing too is that like, we're talking about residuals and we're talking about, safety measures. A lot of these things I think are no-brainers. Like vocal stress is a really serious thing. There have been actors that have reported that their vocal cords started bleeding from sustained sessions. People have been asked to do really intense stunts like hang from rafters without a stunt coordinator present. Things like that. And I think the sticking point is often residuals because people say like devs don't get residuals and all that kind of stuff, which I completely understand. And a lot of devs are in really intense situations. There's crunch, there's all of these things. We're basically asking for what is already established in the industry in terms of animation and in terms of on-camera work.
For other types of work.
And also, I mean, I think there's also a great sympathy in the voice actor community for devs. I mean, we work with devs directly and we love devs. And the fact that like devs are having to go through crunch and go through crazy work hours and not getting fairly compensated is something that we also feel for. And we feel like those things aren't mutually exclusive ideas.
Yeah, it's, as you said, a lot sort of to unpack inside of that. And I know even we had one tweet that someone came in and said actors should know what their character is and for the game so they can get more involved in their character. Because one of the things that also we found out is that a lot of times you guys will do games and game companies are so secretive. You'll do a role for a game and you won't even know what game it's for because they won't tell you, right?
Right, yeah. That's happened to me a lot, actually. I'll go into sessions and not even know what character I'm playing at all. Like, I won't even know the name of the character I got booked for. I won't know the world. I won't know anything. And I'll have to go in and have to, basically digest an entire plot line.
As you're reading.
As I'm reading.
Because people are so secretive. That's one thing that's unique in games is that, film, TV projects, like, rarely do they shoot like a whole movie and then announce at the end, whereas games can be in development for a couple of years. Maddox, for your perspective, you play a lot of games. How important is the voice acting to you? I mean, obviously, there are other non-union actors that can be used, but how important is it to have, great SAG actors in the games you play?
Oh boy, you have asked quite a guy because I made a video where I specifically talked about how I don't like the story in video games. I am the guy who skips.
Sorry, Ash.
This is true. Yeah, sorry, Ashley. No, nothing personal, but I stopped playing Metal Gear Solid 3 because there was a cut scene that I couldn't skip. And I thought, no, I paid for this game. I can do whatever I want with this game. And I turned it off and uninstalled it. Never played it again. True story. But I read the SAG after the point of contention is again that a lot of times the voice actors and actresses don't know the game that they're going to work on ahead of time. So if you have to block out that amount of time from your schedule to work on a project, they should at least know what that project is to anticipate the amount of work that they're going to have to do. One thing I didn't like about the way SAG-AFTRA handled it is they released a strike list, a list of games that people should boycott. And on that list are unannounced games. I don't know if you saw this.
Right? You don't even know
Code names, yeah. Which some of them can be sussed out because Metallica was one of them. There's what's the other one? I think there was a Black Sabbath something or other. It could be a new rock band game or something coming out. Which I felt like was a little bit of a low blow. Like they shouldn't announce code projects, I don't think. Because I couldn't find that on the
And sometimes those games don't even come out. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen with them. But that's the thing is some of it's so secretive. But at the end of the day, I think the big discussion is like, how important are, these actors to the video game project. And obviously the game companies, potentially placed even more value. Things like residuals would come into play. But as you said, developers don't get that. So then it's like sort of question is like, should actors deserve that versus developers, right?
Well, something that we talk about is, or something that's been said is, voice actors make up 1/10 of a percentage of, or whatever, of a game.
What the budget you're saying, or?
Like we make up like 1/10 of just the aspect of a game, like gameplay, graphic, like all the components of a game. Voice acting is 1/10 of it. What we're basically asking is for, like, if you do the math, it's like 1/100th of what it takes of the budget. And the thing is, like, look, I know none of us are Tom Cruise, right? So like, as far as
selling a game,
right? So like I understand when people say like, there is the argument, I've never bought a game because of the voice actor or whatever. I think, that's not 100% true because I've had lots of people say like, you're in this game, I'm buying this game right now. Definitely. But the other thing too is that if you think about it, like, which I have friends that skip every single cutscene, even games that I'm in, so I understand.
Do you take it personally when they skip your cutscene?
No, I mean, that's the thing. There's lots of different games, and like some games are going to feature voice acting more heavily than others. But like if you take any Naughty Dog game, any BioWare game, any like story-driven game that we laud as like being a really important piece of art, especially, can you imagine any of those games with subpar voice acting? Like Last of Us and Mass Effect and Dragon Age, those games often live or die by the quality of the voice acting, because so much of it is about the character connections that you make. Like Life is Strange is carried entirely by the cast.
Right, I agree.
You know, like if Hannah wasn't a compelling protagonist, you wouldn't want to play the game.
That's right. They're different games. Whereas like
they're different games, and so like like I understand people. You know, I just want to get into the gameplay. Sure,
go to my MOBA. It's like I'm looking for like the gameplay is the fun with my friends, and the chants and voices are cool, but they're not going to make or break the game.
And I understand that, but it's also like I think games voice acting in certain games is absolutely good. Voice acting is absolutely essential, but I think across the board it elevates whatever product you're creating. It's weird if the graphics are amazing and the sound is amazing and the gameplay is amazing, and then all of a sudden you have this like weird voice come out of nowhere. Even if you're just playing a MOBA, you want all of these
high production value, right?
Yeah,
you want the best of the best,
cohesive.
and I think everyone would agree with that. The question is sort of what will people pay for it? Justine, would you pay more for a game because it had better voice acting in it?
I mean, for sure. I mean, that's such a huge part of the game. I mean, even you were talking about like the percentages of what it is. I mean, you shouldn't be distracted by it. So I feel like when you're playing a game and you're like, wow, this sounds awful. Like I've definitely played some games where I've been taken out of playing the game because I can't stop focusing on how someone is saying something that's really driving me nuts. And it's a lot of work too, that people don't understand. I mean, I've never done video game stuff, but doing sort of VO and working on projects, it is pretty exhausting.
Oh, and I mean, the scripts you always hear about, like the video game scripts, you think of like a Mass Effect script, and it's like, so many more times.
Yeah.
A film or something like that, and that's what's, tough for some people. It's like you're in the booth, and you said like hooting and hollering and screaming and all these other things that are tied to it. And you're right. I think I remember back when, we're going to play some original PlayStation games, and I remember like some of the original with Sean Layden. We're going to play Battle Arena Toshinden a little bit later. I remember some of those early PlayStation games. It's like the voice acting was terrible because it was like non-union, translated Japanese games that people, you can look online at like the old, original Resident Evil like voiceover files. And you're right, Jesse, we take for granted, I think sometimes, how great the sort of performances and the production values are of games.
Yeah, because we've come so far in literally every other, in every aspect of games, right? So if we're willing to push the medium as far as it can go in every other aspect, why are we comfortable potentially with letting voice acting fall back to the wayside, you know? And it's also the thing that like these things that we're asking for, we kind of sussed it out, and the residual payments would have last year, if this contract was in effect last year, it would have only triggered on 3 games.
Wow. Okay.
In the entire year.
Really?
So
and why is that only 3?
Because we're asking for these residual payments only come into play with the most successful games. So your game has to sell 2 million units for it to even start to trigger. Okay. So it's really not something. It's not unfair, really. You know what I mean? Like it would only have affected 3 games that came out last year. So we feel like it's not unreasonable what we're asking for.
Right. What if they did this as a solution, right? Like remember the NFL strike, the referees striked in the NFL, and then it was bedlam. It was chaos, right? Yeah. What if you guys just like threw a wrench in there? Just had like a couple of really crappy actors, like in a game like Skyrim, and then one person like, "Hello, oh hi, can you find this pan for me?" And it's just like a dumb, like just hire me. Actually, I'm applying for a job right now.
Perfect. Yeah.
Throw the game.
You'd like to scab everyone?
Yeah. Oh, I'll be there.
Throw the game. Yeah. No, that's the thing is I think it'd be interesting to see what happens, and I think all these games are coming out now. As you said, it's not affecting things necessarily right now, and it feels like it's going to be years until sort of we really see like a total stoppage of potentially games if this doesn't get solved. Because anything past February 2015, these new games that are going to take 2 or 3 years, that's amazing. So we'll have to see how it plays out. But it seems like it's I was hoping it was going to get solved quickly, but it seems like there's lots of back and forth.
Yeah, I hope so too. I mean, we've tried really, really hard to be fair about all of the things that we're asking for, and to not overextend, things like policy or like ideas or structures that we're putting forth, and have them not be asking for the moon. Yeah. And we're hoping that devs and consumers appreciate the work that we do enough that they understand that this is not asking for. We don't want the public to think that we're just like entitled actors that are asking for this. Like obviously there are people that work a lot. I'm very grateful that I get to work a lot, but this is honestly, this is helping a lot of actors that are coming up, and actors that don't have the good fortune of always being able to book consistently, you know, throughout the years, because some people only, like I said, they only book 2 or 3 games a year. And this is to protect all of the people in SAG and have them be able to make a living wage, especially here in Los Angeles where everything is insanely expensive.
I agree. All right, well, hopefully it gets solved. We will be covering all the updates for you guys. Now, moving on to a game that definitely does have SAG actors in it. In fact, Kit Harington is one of the stars of Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. It comes out tomorrow and takes place partially in space. It's full-on sci-fi, and lots of discussion around this game. Of course, it's had quite the year with one of the most disliked trailers ever on YouTube for the reveal of it. Seems like people now are feeling better about it. There's lots of excitement. People are streaming on YouTube today. Noah J is out there doing a day-long stream. You can check out his channel. But we are lucky enough to have a copy of the final game here on set. So we're going to show you guys a little live gameplay here of Infinite Warfare. Now, Justine, I saw you tweeting that you're getting ready for Infinite Warfare, but you're traveling tomorrow, so you're not going to be able to play.
Yeah, I feel like this happens every single time, and then everybody ends up prestiging, and then I come home and I'm like, all right, well now I'm starting.
Right.
So, we're playing the campaign here?
I think so.
Right?
Yeah, a little campaign here.
Clearly.
Sorry, I didn't realize it was my controller to grab. But yeah, so this is from the guys at Infinity Ward, which is a studio that's been through quite a bit over the past couple of years here. But we are playing a little Infinite Warfare, figuring out what's going on here, jumping right in. I think this is the first level. But anyways, we should figure out what's happening in this game. Now, the idea of being in space, what's your take on the whole space combat thing?
I mean, I like space. I'm not sure if I like Call of Duty in space. I don't know. I haven't played yet. Every time that the beta has been out, I've also been traveling. So everybody has played this game, I feel like, except for me. So hopefully tonight I plan on staying up late and being able to play.
Doing a little downloading?
Yeah. Nice
All right.
midnight download. But I mean, I'm more of a multiplayer, so I usually end up playing. I mean, I rarely do finish the campaigns, to be honest with you.
I see what Matt's saying. I'm so far away from the TV.
See, now you know. So poor nade shot.
For an A shot, I'm like, I think there's a bad guy down there.
So
all
what
right.
I'm wondering is how long until you're in space?
This
Like,
is a
at
good
what
question.
point?
How much of it is in space, right? Yeah, there have been so many shooters that have come out. Are you a big shooter fan, Ash?
Yeah, I mean, I think the last FPS game that I super got into was, it was a while ago, it was like Left 4 Dead 2, but I dabble now. But I think that the setting change is kind of cool. I'm not really entirely sure what the response, why the response was so negative, but I've never been like I like dabble in Call of Duty, but I've never gotten like super hard into it. So I don't know if maybe it would just felt like sacrilege to have it go to space, but it just seemed like natural to switch things up.
Exactly, switch it up, and I think one of the things I'm interested in is that they've brought a lot of the guys from Naughty Dog, or some of the key guys from Naughty Dog, over to the Infinity Ward team. So I'm curious to sort of see like how story kind of plays into this.
Yeah.
And I feel like people just love to hate Call of Duty. Like, you say you
Yeah.
hate it, but yet you're going to play it anyway, and you're
Right.
probably going to have a really great time.
There was so much hate on this trailer when it first came out, and I watched it as not a fan of the Call of Duty series. And I watched it and I compared it to, because the other big one was the Battlefield 1 trailer that came out right around the same time. Battlefield 1 trailer was awesome. It kicked ass, of course, but it was theatrical. It was almost no gameplay footage. These guys had the cojones to show us their engine. They showed us real-time particle effects and smoke effects, and they showed us the levels. Of course, it's not going to look as good as the theatrical Battlefield trailer, but this is the game, and we're actually seeing the game. I thought they got really a bad rap for that because they went that route.
I think it might have been the David Bowie song.
Oh, really?
I think that might have been the
Rest in peace.
the thing, yeah.
So
But
I'm doing a live hack here.
I wonder if David Bowie had passed before that
it was
trailer
a
came out.
cover.
Oh, it was a cover.
David Bowie cover.
It was a cover of
Yes.
the David Bowie
And a
track.
very
which
little
was not,
bit, too.
not the best. Wasn't the best trailer out there. All right, so I'm doing some kind of hack, and then I'm going to self-destruct here.
But yeah, FPS in space, why not? I know there's a moon mission.
Now we're
There's a
up-
moon base. That's
There's
pretty
the
cool.
moon. All right, you want to play a little IJ? Check it out. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. That is coming out tomorrow, so make sure to check it out. And Noah J's doing a stream of the zombie version as well.
I'm excited for the
Zombies
zombies.
in Spaceland, right? Which is kind of an 80s
nice
theme
80s.
with David Hasselhoff and Paul Rubens and stuff like. Are you in that one, Ash?
I'm not allowed to say either way. Yeah.
But the game's out. You still can't say?
Oh yeah. Well, it's not until tomorrow, right?
It officially comes out at midnight, but I think people are playing and commenting on it today. So.
I probably should be safe and
Okay.
not say
Are you
either
in it?
way. And
She
not say
can't
either
say
way.
either way.
Oh,
Leave
so
her
political.
alone.
All right,
The
we'll
answer's
find
just
out.
no.
I
Could be.
I don't know. She's mysterious. All right. Ash is in so many games. All right. Well, very cool. So moving on to our next story, let's talk a bit about the 25th anniversary of Blizzard. Tomorrow marks the 10th BlizzCon. Kicks off down in Anaheim. Once again, going on down there. For many years, I was down there at BlizzCon. I'm going to miss it this year. But what are you guys hoping to see this year at BlizzCon? Have you been down to BlizzCon before, Ash? I'm sure
I
you have,
actually
right?
have
No?
never. I've never been.
Oh my God.
Which is
Right.
crazy.
Yes.
I want to know more about Overwatch. That's all I really care about.
I know.
In my entire
Started
life.
playing Overwatch.
Did you? What do you think of
It's really, really fun.
It's
Yeah,
so
isn't
fun.
it?
Yes.
It's so
Yeah.
good.
I feel
quite
like
the
I
fun
need to
game.
sit with somebody who's been playing it for a while so
Yes.
that I can just kind of breeze through everything and be like, all right, this is what you need to know and this is how you do it.
It's
But
fun,
really, really
pick up and
fun.
play. One of the first Blizzard games sort of came out on console alongside
Yeah.
PC. Rumors that there's going to be a brand new character, Sombra, announced for Overwatch. There's
Some
rumors.
art leaked, right?
Yeah, it's like some
Yeah.
art leaked on that. There's some rumors of maybe some new stuff for Diablo 3, which would be interesting. Big question I think is Blizzard going to use this as a platform to announce a brand new game? What's there going to be? Will they go back and make a Warcraft 4? Will there be, what's Diablo feels like they haven't said a lot about in a while. So what's going to happen with that game? And this is a fan conference where Blizzard really holds all their news all year for this weekend. So we'll have to sort of see what happens. Maddox, are you a big Blizzard fan?
Yeah, I'm a big fan, and there are some conspiracy theories that
Tell us.
Diablo 4 is going to be announced.
Yeah.
I guess because there's
'cause of the dice,
the
right?
dice, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
saw that? So there's like a screenshot of like a 20-sided dice, and like all sides should have been 1, and one of them says 4, and then
Okay.
people are like, well, 11-4, that's tomorrow. They're going to announce it at BlizzCon.
Right.
Diablo 4 confirmed. It's like it's the new Half-Life 3.
Okay.
Basically.
I mean, who knows? That's certainly a franchise that I think you could see
Yeah.
Blizzard announce something new, and they also tend to sometimes announce things and then it's years until they ship. Overwatch actually had to beta. It came out pretty quickly after they announced it.
Right.
But certainly some of the older Diablo and Diablo 3 had many years of BlizzCons where it wasn't out yet. So we'll see. It's going to be live streamed tomorrow. You guys can watch that online, and we'll cover next week what all the big news out of BlizzCon. One of the big things at BlizzCon is the costume contest that they have, and every week we like to highlight a really cool YouTube creator that's out there. They have a cool emerging channel, and we want to introduce you now to Svetlana, aka Kamui. She's been into cosplay since 2003, and she was inspired by anime magazines to check out cosplay events. However, playing World of Warcraft is what led her to really get into the cosplay community, speaking of Blizzard. She makes her creations with her husband, Benny, and the two have authored a couple of books on cosplaying. They mainly focus on DIY tutorials of cosplay and weapons to get others involved and interested in cosplay. Here she is making a replica of the Diva gun from Overwatch, speaking of. Maybe she's gearing up for a little BlizzCon cosplay, and you can check out her channel to see her DIYs and all her cosplay. You ever do any cosplay, Ajay?
No, but this is really good. I don't have patience for that.
Yeah?
I know.
No
it's
way.
Amazing. Her Symmetra was so good.
It was pretty good.
Yeah,
What if
it's
someone
awesome.
makes cosplay for you guys and sends it to you? Would you then wear it?
Yeah, but I don't
Yes.
Yeah, I definitely would, but I feel like
100%.
that's like a cosplay no-no.
Oh, really?
Is
Yeah,
it?
like you
Yeah.
gotta like
Has to be
make
health
your
It's
Really?
own
sacrilege,
thing.
right?
They
Yeah,
take
you
it
have
so
to make your own
seriously.
thing. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right.
I did do once a Comic-Con. I had Stan Lee do a little, like, we did this thing for a show that I was on. So he like made this like character, and then I felt like that was okay.
Yeah.
Like, Stan Lee was involved there. Okay, we can.
That's approved, but otherwise, and no cosplay for you, man?
Yeah, I went to AnimeCon one time, and I just put together the most half-assed, like, Tekka Man costume out of Whole Foods bags, paper bags, and aluminum foil. And I thought, oh, this will be hilarious. And I started, like, photobombing these, like, cosplayer photos, and they got really pissed off at me.
Oh, no.
They were, like, really mad. And I'm like, guys, it's digital. You can take another photo. Who cares?
When we went, we used to go to PAX a lot as like the Hey Ash crew, and
Yeah.
we would do really like bunk.
Elaborate ones, yeah.
No, we do really
No?
like bunk cosplay. We did like the Spelunky crew from Spelunky,
Yeah.
and we did like Harvest Moon '64, where I was Jack the farmer, and all of my guy friends were all of the different women that you can marry. But they were very like thrown together. Nowhere
All right,
near
well,
the level of
nothing like
quality,
Svetlana.
yeah.
All right, we'll check out her
impressive.
channel. We'll get some tips from her. All right, well, thanks so much for hanging around, Ashly, Maddox, and Justine. Justine and Ash will be back a little bit later to play some classic NES games on that NES Classic. And don't go anywhere.